trying to kill us just cause they fear us. Fear our minds, fear our minds. They keep trying to kill us just cause they fear us. Fear our minds, fear our minds. They keep trying to kill us just cause they fear us. Fear our minds, fear our minds. Come on down to East London Street. Come learn with me. Come on down and you will see. Knowledge is power and wisdom is key. Unlearn and relearn what you need. You might hear me sing. Don't be confused, we have strong minds. Come on down and spend some time. Come learn tonight. Open discussions, we will speak. Can you hear me? Come respond to me. They keep trying to kill us just cause they fear us. Fear our minds, fear our minds. They keep trying to kill us just cause they fear us. Fear our minds, fear our minds.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon, evening, morning, day, whenever you get to see this broadcast. And if you're joining us currently, we are Reed's Learning Street, and we would like to welcome you to our Mentors Matter series. Today we have joining us Javon Waters Sr. from the Detroit All-Star Aquatics swim team. He is going to be interviewed by some of our youth that are homeschooled. They are going to introduce themselves, and I am going to turn it over to them if you'll give me one moment. Introductions. Please introduce yourself, Coach Jay.
Again, thank you for that lovely, warm introduction. I'm Javon Waters Sr., head coach of Detroit All-Star Aquatics, also founder of Aqualife Swim School, and head coach of Cass Technical High School.
My name is King, also known as King the Swimmer. You can find me on Instagram at King the Swimmer 09 and Cash App at King the Swimmer.
I'm MyJoy, also known as MyJoy the Artist. You can find me on Instagram at MyJoyLouise or MyJoy_12.
Excellent. So can we start with our questions that you may have for the coach? Who's going to start today?
I am. So our first question for you is, how do you keep your athletes motivated when they feel like giving up?
Wow, great question. And I think that every athlete at some point is going to experience this. In the swimming world, we call it plateau, and every swimmer is going to experience it, whether it's a temporary plateau, sometimes a little longer than others. But I think some of the things that we do is try to remind them of their why. Like, why did you get into the sport in the first place? You know, what is it that brought you here in the first place? And we ask them, like, you know, if you tell me, hey, I'm here because mom and dad drag me to practice every day, then it's probably gonna be a little difficult for you to get kind of out of that rut. But if you say, hey, I want to be healthy, I want to have a healthy lifestyle, I want to lose weight, then that's your why. We try to remind you to get you back into that when you don't feel motivated with getting up and coming to the pool. Or if you say, hey, I want to go to the state, zone, national level, okay, then that's your why. Another thing that we do is we try to take it like one step at a time. We call it chunk it out. And trust me, every athlete, especially swimmers, have it, especially in a sport like swimming where it's kind of monotonous, where you feel like you're following the black line up and down the pool all day. So, we take it one step at a time. Like, okay, you're not feeling your best. You're not feeling the freshest. Just focus on one detail at a time. Just focus on your feel for the water. Focus on your breathing patterns. Focus on ways that can kind of help get you through that practice, So that's one of the things that we do. I think another thing that us coaches are guilty of sometimes are not introducing. I'm probably going to get banned for saying this on live, but not introducing enough fun into our workouts and our practices. And I think that's important because whether you're coaching the age group level, high school level, even the collegiate level, you're still coaching kids essentially, and all kids want to have fun. The same kids that are doing the TikTok dances on our club team, those same college kids are doing the same TikTok dances or stuff like that, right? So we try to incorporate more fun into our practices. We try to disguise hard work as fun sometimes too, because sometimes kids can be having fun and not knowing that they're working out or working something. So that's just a few of the things that we do to try to help our athletes motivate when they feel like giving up.
Okay.
All right. How does your coaching method differ from that of other swim coaches?
Wow, that's another good question. I can't really say on the basis because I haven't spent a lot of time with other coaches, but some things I can say that I know that I do that's unique is the first thing I do is I care for my athletes. I care for them as individuals and as people first. And that's the saying that no one care what you know until they know that you care. So I try to lead that every day when I come to practice. I have conversation with my athletes before practice. They tell me about their school day. They tell me about some event they're excited for that weekend. They tell me about their favorite foods. It's a lot of things that they share with us that lets them know that we actually care. And it kind of makes it easier for us to push them when we're ready to push them kind of hard, that they know, okay, at least it's coming from a place of passion. Also, I think, again, kind of incorporating that fun into practice. Because, again, I know a lot of coaches kind of are very serious about hitting their volume. That's how many yards they're hitting every day. I'm not really big on yards. Don't get me wrong. We get our yards in. It's days that we get in 8,000, 9,000 yards, 10,000 yards of practice. But I believe in quality over quantity. I believe in if you swim a 5,000-yard practice the right way, that
a lot of yards.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of average, especially for the group that like King is on, and the group that he's in is kind of average for him. So,
wow.
But and King can attest to this, if you swim 5,000 yards the right way, the way that it's meant to be trained, it'll feel like you swim 10,000 yards. So that's some of the ways that we try to make our coaching different. One of the things that we also do with Detroit All-Star Aquatics is we have two other phenomenal coaches. We have Coach Rasul, who's actually been on the show before already, and we have Coach Jonathan Walker. Coach Rasul coaches our developmental group. Coach John coaches our bronze group. And some of the things that we do is we'll rotate coaches throughout the course of the week or course of the month. And that way the other swimmers can get to learn and get to know the coaches and their coaching style and get to learn some of the things that they like to do. So that's some of the things that we do. I think one other thing that we do is that we involve our athletes into their training, right? Like we have an athlete committee. So I think it's phenomenal to have this athlete committee. It's comprised of 3 great swimmers right now from all different levels of our training group. And they actually sit down and tell us what they want to do. And I know sometimes as adults, we don't typically listen to kids like we should, but we definitely want to make sure that we incorporate their thoughts, their feelings, their expressions into what we do with training. And it doesn't have to just be training. It could be things they want to do as far as team events, things they want to do as far as fundraising. So we listen to them and we definitely incorporate that. So that's just a few of the things that we do.
Great. How do you feel about the achievements and progress your athletes have made since you initially met them?
Wow. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record. I know I'm going to sound very cliche, but I'm very happy with the progress of our kids. Don't let them hear that because then they'll stop working hard. No, but seriously, no, I'm happy that they, from the day that we met to where they are now, they're hitting all the markers that they should. They're actually progressing where they should be. And again, like we talked about in the other question, as far as the plateau, some of them are going through that stage right now, but they understand that progress is a process. And let me trust the coaching. Let me trust the training. Let me keep pushing forward. Just for instance, just this time a year ago, as I mentioned before, owner and operator of Aqualight Swim School. And one of our then students of Aqualight Swim School, he was a level 5 student then. He actually graduated. He's on DASA now. He actually just made his first state cut, and that's just from a year ago. So our team is progressing quite well. They're hitting all the markers, but as any coach will say, there's always work to be done. There's always room for improvement.
Mhm.
Okay. Where do you see your coaching career in 5 years?
Wow. I think I've been asked that before. That's a good question. What I can say is that in 5 years, more than likely, I'll still be right here. This is where I want to be, though. I've been offered other coaching jobs here in the state, even out of state. One was actually pretty appetizing because they had just built the $18 million facility and they wanted me to come be the head coach of that program. So I almost thought about it, but no, the work that I'm doing needs to be done here in my own backyard. So in 5 years from now, I'll still be here, head coach of Detroit All-Star Aquatics, head coach at Cass Technical High School, and still owning and operating Aqualight Swim School. Now, in 10 years, 15 years from now, that may change. I don't know. So you have to ask me then, but I know in 5 years, I'll be right here.
Great. Why did you choose to pursue coaching professionally?
So it's a good question. You guys are on fire with these questions. Honestly, and again, it's going to sound like a cliche answer, but coaching chose me. It really did. I was not a great swimmer coming up. I was really as a novice swimmer. I didn't start swimming until high school, where most coaches and most people that are involved in the sport, they usually start at a younger age. I didn't start until I was 13. And actually, I was drugged to the pool by one of my best friends. So he actually drugged me to the pool because he had swimming experience. I didn't, but I had more team and like club experience than he did because I grew up playing football, like most youth do in Detroit anyway. So he just wanted someone to come out with him to try out. So I went with him to try out. Shout out to Jeremiah Pickett, rest in peace, and my best friend. And when he killed tryouts. I swam like a rock. That's what I did. Like my experience then was just passing the deep test, and I thought I was it. You couldn't tell me that I was the man passing the deep test until I got to the tryouts, and they was literally swimming laps around me, kicked my butt. So I'm not a quitter, at least not at that point anyway. So I went back and did it again, gave it a good old try. I said, okay, I'm gonna try it again, and went back and did tryouts again. Got my butt kicked. I said, yep, that's it. And they was literally swimming laps around, kicked my butt. All right, so continue with the story. So I'm not a quitter, at least not at that point anyway. Technical difficulties. Give us just a moment. All right, we're good to go. Okay. All right. So where'd I leave off? Oh, I'm not a quitter. So, but up until the second day, and I said, yep, I'm done. This is it. I'm gonna go just do football. That's what I'm comfortable with. That's what I'm good at. I'll just do this. Well, my best friend snitched on me to our senior captain. Shout out Terrence Lewis. Rest in peace to you as well. He literally took the captain to my house and knocked on my door. My mom answers the door and says, can I help you? And he said, hey, Mrs. Waters, I'm here about your son. He tried out for the swim team, and I think he has some potential. And I'm just in the back like, no, please stop, no. And then my mom turned around, looked at me, and she said, you tried out for the swim team? Because I didn't even tell her I went out for tryouts. I just went with my friend. And I said, yes, ma'am. She turned around and looked at him. She said, he'll be there tomorrow. I was like, Ma, what you doing? You know, every teenager think their parents make the worst decisions of their life. And it turned out to be one of the best decisions. And I thank my mom for pushing me. She said, son, in this house, when we start things, we finish it. And went on to have a decent freshman year. I qualified for our league championships. I placed 6th place in the 100 backstroke. I still have my green ribbon to this day because it kind of was the motivating fuel for me to push and strive to be better. So kind of fast forward, one of the things that my coach did was she made it for us to be more well-rounded individuals, which is some of the things I use in my coaching career today. And she required that we become CPR, first aid, and AED certified as lifeguards. And we actually taught lessons. So they had a Saturday swim program, they had a summer swim program, and they had a program down in Wayne State called the National Youth Sports Program. So we taught lessons like all year long. So I got proficiently good at teaching my peers and teaching younger people. And by the time I graduated high school, I had accumulated more hours teaching than I did actually like competing. So I ended up being a decent swimmer. I wasn't like a state finalist or anything like that, but I was good in my own right. Another thing what kind of drove me to that was because I wanted more kids, especially here in the city of Detroit, to have more experience and more exposure to swimming. I didn't get exposed to high level swimming until my senior year. So it took me almost 3.5 years to understand what swimming was outside of Detroit. And I thought that was unfortunate for the average swimmer like me. So I said, if I had the opportunity to showcase these type of opportunities to other swimmers, other youth in Detroit, I wanted to do that. So that's kind of what kind of catapulted my coaching career. And just from there, it's just, I've just never looked back. It's always been my place of peace. It's something I enjoy doing. It's something I feel like I'm pretty good at. So I've been coaching competitive swimming for 16 years now, but I've been involved in aquatics for 25 years now. Yeah.
Okay. Where do you
That's a lot of
see
years.
that's this time next year?
Oh, growing, improving. It's up from here. That's the goal. The goal is just to go up. So we started DAS in 2018 with 3 swimmers, and now we just finished our yearly registration going into 2023, and we're at 47 swimmers. So improvement is already there. Just like the young gentleman I told you that started off with Aqua Life last year, and now he's making the state cut. We expect that, but more next year. So our goal is to double our membership size. Not only double our membership size, but double the numbers or increase the amount of swimmers that are competing at these championship swim meets. And also, we're looking to have hopefully our first ever Olympic trial qualifier. All right, so that's definitely a goal that we have. We also want to be more community based. So we want to find different ways that we can engage with the community. That's definitely something that's important to that.
Okay. Do you feel like you receive the same energy and effort from your athletes as you give to them?
Yes and no. For the most part, yes. I feel as if it does become contagious. So when you show up to deck every day and you show up to practice every day with a positive mindset, with a mindset of we're coming to be better than we were the day before, when you show up with a spirit of just overall happiness for what you do, it does become contagious. So I definitely feel as if our athletes do give us that same energy back, and they have to, because that's what keeps us coaches motivated on deck every day. It's the energy that we get from our athletes. Now, again, kind of going back to your first question, it is hard sometimes. Every day is not going to be the greatest day. Every day is not going to feel as if you're ready to conquer the world. So there's going to be days where we're giving our athletes more energy to kind of help them throughout their day, and vice versa. A lot of times when coaches come on day, it's not always, rainbows and butterflies. It's not always peaches and cream, as they say. And some days we have to borrow some of that energy from our athletes. Like they'll come in and they'll tell you a goofy joke or something like that, or they'll tell you an amazing story about their day, and that kind of help get you going. So yes, absolutely. I feel like as if the athletes give us the same energy that we give them.
What's your top 3 favorite things about being a coach?
Whoa, come on now. 3? I got narrowed down to 3. Whew, y'all putting it. Okay. Let me see. I love the aha moments. I love the moments when an athlete may or may not get a skill or something, and then the light bulb goes off and they say, oh, I get it now. I love that moment. It's absolutely one of my favorite moments for sure. I think another one of our moments is when our athletes surprise themselves with some of their performances. Like, don't get me wrong, we train our butts off every day to reach the highest level that we can get. We do goal setting, right? And we write these, sometimes it seems like crazy times down, and it seems like it might be almost impossible to get there. But when an athlete finishes the race and they touch the wall and they turn around, look at the board, and they see the time, and their whole face just light up. It's almost like they can feel like they was on their deathbed. They feel like their lungs are collapsing. They feel like their lungs are no longer existing. But when they turn around and see what their performance was, they get this immense burst of energy. I love that moment as well. Then I have to say the third one, man, y'all putting a spot on me now because there's so many. I would say the opportunity to help our athletes learn and grow as people outside of the pool. I'm gonna take that one. I'm gonna go that route. I think it's always amazing when one of your athletes tell you that, hey, coach, because of this set that we did the other day, or because of the conversation that we had the other day, I was able to apply that when I was out at the grocery store, right? Because we do a lot of math in swimming. Or I was able to use my multitasking abilities when I was in school and doing my studies. Or I was able to deal with a high pressure situation that was kind of just like when I was at finals at state championships. I like those moments too, when our athletes say that they can take what they use for swimming and apply it to everyday life.
Those are good reasons. As a father of melanated swimmers, how do you wish the swim world will change?
I think it is changing, but definitely more representation. Definitely seeing more people of color that look like us, not only competing in the water, but I think it's also important to see people of color that are on the coaching staffs and more people of color that are even officiating some of these meets. I think it's, again, representation. And I think it's something about the power of seeing is believing. So if I see somebody that looks like me that's competing at these high level meets, and it makes me believe I can do that too. I think that's what a lot of our athletes need to see. The numbers are changing. They are getting better every year. I think there's always still room for improvement, but just looking at some of the NCAA championship swim meets, some of the elite level meets, not like some of the national meets, we're seeing a lot more people of color that are represented at these meets. Now, if we can get, some of the governing bodies to kind of promote this and kind of break it down and kind of really drive and get behind it, I think that'd be something that we can see a big change with people of color being involved in swimming. But it starts at the grassroots level. So we need to have more, I guess, accessible learn to swim programs, especially in the inner cities across the country. And we need to have more ways for our athletes to be introduced to the sport of swimming, because there are a lot of barriers. There are financial barriers, there are social barriers, socioeconomic barriers. So if we can find different ways for our athletes to kind of get over these hurdles, I think we'll see a lot more of our swimmers, again, competing at the higher level, seeing coaching that is produced across all levels, and even to officiate.
Lastly, do you have any advice for those wanting to get into the water but don't know where to start?
Absolutely. So first things first, Google is a powerful tool. So going on Google and searching swim programs, local swim programs in your area, reaching out to them, finding out what the process is, finding out what ways can you get your children started, looking at some of the different, I guess, melanated programs that are across the country as well. We're always here. You can reach out to us on Instagram, on Facebook. I guess I should drop my plugs, right? So on Instagram, it's DASTA_313. And Facebook is Detroit All-Star Aquatics. Or you can also email us at allstarsdetroit313@gmail.com. And even if you're not in the Metro Detroit area, even if you're across the country, we have connections all across the United States. So if there's something that you're interested in for your child, even for yourself, we definitely can point you in the right direction. But I guess the main thing is just do it. Just step out on faith and just do it.
Great. Do you have any questions for us?
Yes, I do. I would like to know, because this is phenomenal for me to see young people that are behind the production, right, and getting into media. And I think that's another avenue that needs to open up for people of color, is getting into media production. And I know now it's a lot easier with YouTube, with Facebook, with TikTok, yeah, those platforms. But I wanted to know, what are some of the things that maybe for you, my joy, how did you kind of get into this, and kind of what's your passion for getting into media?
This media side of it, it can start with my music. So I make music, so I've been trying to learn how to navigate ring lights and mics and green screens and stuff, so I can make my own music videos. Also, I've done a few interviews based on my music, so
Nice.
I'm just kind of getting comfortable with the camera. Just trying to work with my nerves. So
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that's something I think that definitely takes some time to get used to. I've been in front of a camera quite a few times. I still get nervous every time. But I think it's like if you're performing a song, right? No matter how many times you've rehearsed that song, there's going to be a little bit of nervousness that's going to come accompanied with that. And same thing with you, King. When you're stepping up on the blocks at a big meet, you swim that event probably hundreds of times. But when you step up on the blocks at a big meet, the nerves kind of get there. And I think that's something important to just engage and just acknowledge that it's there, because it's going to be something that kind of helps you get through to the next level. It's just your body getting prepared to do something special. Ken, I got a question for you. Something we talked about before, something I think is important. You had a phenomenal swimming career up and still are having a phenomenal swimming career. But now that you can see, we're learning how to navigate different areas now that you're starting to get a little older. I think I remember you speaking about that in your last live video, as far as aging up to 13 or 14. And we see that it's kind of no joke. And you got to kind of do things differently than what you did before, right? What are some of the things that you do outside of the pool that kind of help you be prepared to continue to grow?
I would like to say I do take college courses, and I think that helps with the math that we do at swim practice, because we do some crazy intervals.
Yeah,
that's kind of hard to memorize, but that's pretty much all I could think of right now.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys have been phenomenal. I really enjoyed the line of questioning. Y'all have any other questions for me? Anything that might not have been prepared, but just kind of from the conversation we're having?
Yes.
Go for it.
How do I word this? In your years of coaching, what's like your top 3 events that has ever been accomplished?
Great question. As far as coaching, not swimming, right?
Coaching.
Okay, just coaching. All right, I'm gonna say swimming. That's a short list. I'll tell you my 3 favorite events to coach. And as Ken could tell you, I believe in coaching swimmers. We don't specialize. You may have events that you're really good at, some better than others. I'm a firm believer that once you get to the absolute elite levels of swimming, or to the collegiate level, in my opinion, that's when you start to kind of specialize on certain events. But as a coach, I like to coach all events. But my 3 top favorite events to coach is the 200 freestyle, the 400 IM, and I want to say the 1,000 free. The reason I say those events, I think the 200 freestyle is this crazy event that most swimmers aren't sure, is this a middle distance event or is this a sprint? And it's really a happy marriage between the two. So we train it as a sprint, a controlled sprint, but it's a sprint. And I think that's when you start to separate some of your true sprinters from some of your really well-established athletes. I think if you can swim a solid 200 freestyle, then you're doing something special in swimming. 400 IM, they call it the decathlon of swimming, right? Because you're doing all 4 strokes, all 4 disciplines, and you're doing 100 of each. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart at all. So I think that training all 4 strokes, but training them to be sustained at speed over a long distance of time, I think that's something that's fun to coach, and fun to train at coaching, and coach at training, and fun to coach at meets. Really, really is. And then the mile, I say the mile because I feel like the mile builds mental toughness. And I think if you can swim the mile really well, then you can swim any event that USA swimming, Michigan swimming, high school swimming, whatever it has to offer. If you can endure also the pain, because there is a pain that's associated with the mile, right, King?
Yes, but then it gets numb.
But then it gets numb. And I think a lot of that has to do with the mental development of blocking it all out and then just focusing in on one lap at a time and just focusing in on one stroke at a time, whether it's just trying to, do DPC, right, where you count your stroke counts and trying to do the same thing every lap, and then kind of just finding the rhythm. Also, I heard from a lot of swimmers that they have their favorite playlists on repeat when they're swimming the mile and just get their favorite songs in their head and they just go. So those probably my top 3 right now. But I think if you ask me tomorrow, those events might change.
How about your least favorite thing about coaching?
Least favorite thing about coaching? Nothing. No.
You don't have any?
Least favorite thing about coaching. There are moments when you try to get through to an athlete and trying to get them to realize their true potential. And as coaches, we do everything we can to try to help that athlete realize how special they are and how amazing that they can be. That's always difficult, right? Because you're dealing with self-esteem, you're dealing with self-discipline, you're dealing with the discipline of that one individual. And a lot of times as coaches, what we do really isn't coaching, it's more like psychology, if you will. So some of those times when we can't get those athletes to really truly see their potential and they never really hit that peak that that they can hit, sometimes that becomes a little discouraging. So I would say those are probably my least favorite moments in coaching.
Okay. King, do you have any questions?
No, not right now.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, I have a question, if I can interject. Coach Javon Waters Sr. We also have Javon Waters Jr. in the studio with us. So you all both have the name Waters. How does Waters end up in the water?
Hey. So apropos, right? We've been hearing that all of our lives. Actually, it's funny because I go by Coach J is what I prefer. And most people just flip out when they realize or they finally read it. I'm pretty sure my son gets it when they read the heat sheet and say, your last name is Waters. How'd that happen? I like to think it's just a higher power just deeming us for what we were here to do. And there's been times I ran from the water, didn't want to do it. And no matter what I did in life, I always end up coming right back to the pool. So I guess it's just what we were meant to do, what we're here for.
I'm going to have to agree because this is Reed's Learning Street and we read and write a lot. So we got the name to reading. So I guess you could have Waters for watering in the waters. Coach Jay, you brought your son with you and you mentioned him. Is it possible that we can ask him to at least just step in and show his face because he is a part of Detroit All-Star Aquatics and Aqua Life Swim School? Is that possible? We need your permission.
Oh, absolutely. So come on in.
Welcome, Javon Jr., JJ, as we affectionately refer to you. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you.
Excellent. So you are a part of this team as well. We'd like to know a little bit about you and your future and where you're headed, since you are the coach's son.
I've been involved with swimming all my life. I've been swimming competitively for, I want to say 10 years now. I'm currently a freshman in high school at Cass Technical. And one of my major goals, just like King over here, is to make it to Olympic trials. We wanted to be one of the first swimmers to make it to Olympic trials out of the city of Detroit. And I came up with this goal, just, I wouldn't say playing around, but I said it, and then I looked at the times, and I looked at the nearest Olympic trial dates, and I realized that these are actually realistic times to go. And I told King here and another one of our swimmers who we train with, and we all train together, his name is Kyle. I told both of them, and I told them that this is really realistic for us. And we can get it. We just got to work hard and work at it, and we should get it.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I'm not sure if you're accustomed to being interviewed or not, but take a deep breath and breathe. You're on the camera. Yay. Yes. Okay. Get used to it because I know you all are headed for the Olympics, as you were saying. You're going to be getting a lot of interviews coming up soon, if not sooner than soon. All right, since we have the three of you on screen together and this is your coach, is there anything that the two of you would like to ask your coach that you have not had a chance to ask him in all this time? Something that just whatever.
The door is open.
Do you like putting us in pain?
I would be lying if I didn't say a small part of me likes to see you guys suffer a little bit. I more than seeing you guys go through the pain, I like to see the outcome of on the other side of that pain. I like to see, again, those aha moments of we survived that, right? Like the T30, definitely not one of my favorite sets. Only reason I keep doing it every year is because you guys step up and challenge ourselves every time we do it. And that's something that I look forward to. Even though y'all know it's pain coming, it's going to be there and it's going to hurt like heck. But I think that is definitely going to prepare you for reaching your ultimate goals, because to get to that level and to be able to swim at that intensity for a longer period of time, you got to endure some type of pain. So no, I don't necessarily enjoy putting y'all through pain per se. Wink, wink, but I understand that it's what's needed.
I have a question, actually.
Go for it.
So far in our swimming career, what has been one of your favorite moments from each of us?
Both of y'all? Wow. Wow. Okay. On the spot. I like these questions. I'll give you two each. Favorite moments of both of y'all careers. And it's going to be a high point and a low point, believe it or not. Because as coaches, I appreciate the moments we get to celebrate, but I also appreciate the low points too, because that's where learning happens and that's where growth happens. So for King, I will say his high point was from 2022 Summer Championships, which was swim short course at Lakeland High School. And he walked up to me after seeing the site sheet. And I don't like letting swimmers see the site sheet because I don't like to let them get outside their heads. Just stay focused on what your process goals are. But he said, Coach, we can win this thing. And I said, you're absolutely right. It's just how bad do you want it? Do you want it bad enough? And not only did he win the 50-yard freestyle, right, claiming champion. Wait, what happened in the 100 free?
In the 100 free, I was racing against my friend. His name is Charlie. He's on Club Wolverine. And he was the top seed and I was the second fastest. And we were like milliseconds away. We both went 54. And I had a feeling that I could beat him in this race just based off how training was going. And at first 50, I was leading by like milliseconds. I went 25.98, if I'm correct. And he went like 26.02. And when I pushed off, I was still neck and neck. And after that last flip, I breathed my first stroke. And and he didn't breathe his first stroke. We like to call it the do-do-do-do. That's what it sounds like. He says do-do-do-do. And
Right.
He's like flies. And it gives him a lot of momentum, which is the only reason I lost that race. That's what happened.
So there you have it in the same meet, right? You had your high of saying, hey, I can win the 50 freestyle. And you went out there and did it. The confidence that you had to say, I can do it and I'm going to do it. That was probably my high point, to see you walk with that confidence. And then I think it was the next day, or it might have been that Sunday, because the state meets are 3-day meets. So I think the 50 free was on a Friday, 100 free was on a Sunday. And noticing that, making that one little mistake swimming at that level was costly. And you understood that. And I think you have not missed a turn. You have not breathed off a turn since then. At practice, at a meet, never. So that was the chance for you to learn and for you to grow. So those are definitely my two for you. For Jay, I'm going to say my high point for you was actually more recently when we swam at the GLT Tsunami meet. And you had an outstanding meet. You had a very breakout meet. And it kind of goes back to what I told King was the confidence was there. And I like to say this. It's not that swimmers who go fast are happy. It's swimmers who are happy go fast. And just days leading up to that meet, you were in like the best mood you can be in. You got a great sleep. You had great dinner. Shout out to your mom. And your just whole overall mood was just amazing, you know, and that's kind of what led to that meet. And you went on to swim all personal best times. You set 4 team records, and then you qualified for 3 state cuts. And especially for swimmers, breaking a barrier, right? Breaking the minute barrier mark is always big when it comes to swimming. So whether it's the 1 minute mark or the 2 minute mark, and Jay actually did that in 2 events. He finally broke the minute barrier in the 100 butterfly. And what'd you go? 59.98. So just broke it. And then he finally broke 2 minutes in his 200 freestyle mark, which again is one of my favorite events to coach. And you went 158, just 0.7, just blew right past 159. So that was definitely my high point. My low point, I'm gonna take it back to your first ever state championships with me. You remember that?
Can I tell a story on this one?
Go for it.
Okay, so my first state championship meet was when I was 10. Right? Well, 10, right? 10. I was 10. And I had qualified in the 100-meter breaststroke. It was long course. And I was really happy and really, really out there to be at the swim meet because it's my first time being at a state championship. And I actually remember I had to choose between a regional meet for chess because I was doing chess at my school at the time. And I had qualified for a regional chess tournament in Ohio. And I had to choose between a regional chess tournament in Ohio or states in swimming. And I chose states because I knew I can go to a regional chess tournament any other time. But states is really hard to get to once you get the cuts. So I went to states and I saw a lot of my friends there who I made on the pool deck. And I swam in prelims and it was a pretty good swim, I would say. Pretty good swim. I dropped time and I actually made B final. So my first ever state meet, and I made B final. And I could tell you the nerves and excitement was there. A little too much because during that break between prelims and finals, I didn't really rest like I was supposed to. And, you know, just excited to be there. So when I came back for finals, I didn't have a great swim. And I added time. And I think I dropped the seed too. I got to 16th place. So I was really upset about that.
Yeah, but again, that was another opportunity for you to learn and grow. And that's what we like to call experience. You know, you had to get that experience under your belt to know what to do and what to not do, right? Next time you get in that predicament. But those are both of my favorite high and low points for y'all until this point. Yeah, good question. Any other?
No.
We do have one question from the chat. How long have you been coaching swimming? From Leonard Jackson.
Okay, Leonard. I've been coaching swimming, competitive swimming as a USA swimming coach for 16 years, but I've been involved in aquatics for 25 years now. And that's teaching lessons, that's teaching water aerobics, lifeguarding, you know, you name it. I've been involved in aquatics for a really long time now.
Okay. So we also have some comments as well from Facebook that wants to congratulate the young boys on their accomplishments.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, family, we are around about the 45-minute mark. I want to personally say thank you to Coach Jay, Detroit All-Star Aquatics and Aqualife Swim School, for joining us today and giving us their energy as well as putting into the community. We need more mentors, and women tours to support the future. As a matter of fact, Karmic Dynasty would like to see more young ladies to come up on the platform and share their experiences as opposed to only the young men. So on our next Women Tours Matter, we'll bring up some of the young ladies off of your team, Coach, if that is okay with you, and their parents. We'll definitely look forward to, that means that you have to come back, apparently.
Okay. And bring some more special guests with us. Absolutely, no problem.
And we also have another comment from Ramutef Queb, which is your astrology instructor. He states that he wants to say he appreciates the coach for bringing the youth from out of darkness into growth. It takes a village. It takes a tribe, you know. That's on Facebook. Again, like I said, we appreciate Coach Jay for joining us, as well as his son, Coach JJ, as well as his, I don't know what to consider you, even though you're our son. I'd say Coach King, his understudies. These are his understudies. Yes, they step in when Coach Jay can't fill it. Again, we'd like to thank you. I apologize for our delay. My Joy, the artist, was also in the screen. She conducted the interview for us today. Please like, share, subscribe. Check out Detroit All-Star Aquatics on Instagram as DASA313. DASA_313, my apologies. Detroit All-Star Aquatics on Facebook, as well as at Gmail at allstarsdetroit313. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, evening, morning, whenever you catch this. Support the future. Support who supports you.